Okay, everyone. So, um, as you see on the right-hand corner of your screen, there is the QR code. You literally want to take your phone and go to camera and then hold the camera as though you're taking a picture. Hold it over the QR code. And at the top, a link will pop up. And you want to click on that link, which will take you to our link tree, and there you will see literally a series of links, but the first one is questions. And you want to click on questions and just be ready, throughout the entire presentation. Tonight's agenda is we're going to cover the Lower Hill history and the path forward. We're going to cover the integrated development team. You're going to meet everybody. The Lower Hill site and project. We're going to cover economic reinvestment, what that looks like, wealth building, what it is and how it works, contracting opportunities for you and everybody that you know, women and minority business inclusion, workforce development, culture, legacy, honor and repair, and communication and how to keep in touch with us. And if you're having trouble hearing me, turn up your volume on your laptop um, because other people now are. Also, this meeting is being recorded, and in 48 hours, you will see it on our website at lowerhillredevelopment.com. All right. So I want to say good evening again to everyone. My name is Dr. Kimberly Ellis, and I am the historical consultant and cultural legacy consultant for the Buccini Polling Group, who is the developer on this site. So let me take you through a bit of history. Um, After World War II, there were many different discussions about how to recreate and how to redevelop cities. Pittsburgh was the first to be chosen to be redeveloped. And so the federal government sent federal funds, and the Urban Redevelopment Authority was created as the first entity to do urban redevelopment in the city of Pittsburgh. So we were the first. It means that we were setting the path. It means that we were setting the pattern of how urban redevelopment would be. Um, and so, unfortunately, the plans that were made initially only partly came into fruition. So on the left side, you see 1939, what the Hill District looked like, and on the right side, you see what the new development looked like. As, this picture was taken in 1967, but the Civic Arena was opened in 1961. It's just important for you all to see, and also it's important for you to see how this development blocked Wiley Avenue, which was our main business corridor of the time. Many of you have seen Wiley Avenue Days, the documentary about the pinnacle of the Hill District. And so this did block the business redevelopment. So as we move forward, I just want to show you. All right. Um, okay. So as we're moving forward, um, I want to show you the pre-development, the earlier plans in the next slide. So this is what it was supposed to look like. The Lower Hill Cultural Center, you see there in the middle, it was supposed to be the arena, and you see many buildings that look a lot like Washington Plaza, right? And I want you to pay very close attention to this picture because this was a plan for the entire site. And that's not what we ended up with. And so not having this quality development, it cost us in many different ways. And it definitely cost those of us who were in the Hill District, but it cost the entire city as well. So what we're looking for is this new development and something that will come into fruition that will make all of our dreams come true, so to speak. All right. But just keep in mind that this was the plan. All right. So as we look on the next slide, what I want to draw your attention to is on the left side, there's Frankie Pace of the Citizens Committee for Hill District Renewal. She helped to organize a boycott with the Hill and other national organizations, and I'll get to that, the billboard. But what I want to draw your attention to is this picture in the upper right corner. You see how in the upper right corner of the picture, they're in front of the Civic Arena? The arena was already built. And so the protest came because of the broken promises around the arena. Many of our ancestors, many of our elders are holding signs that say, we want jobs too, we pay taxes too, where are the jobs? All right. This is what we don't want for this development. And it's important for you all to understand that basically what we were told is that Blacks were hired to demolish the site, but Blacks were not hired to develop the site. We were supposed to be a part of this innovative development. We were supposed to be a part of all of this newness. And so when those broken promises became more realized, Frankie Pace, of the Citizens Committee for Hill District Renewal, she helped to organize this billboard. And the billboard reads, "Attention URA, no more redevelopment beyond this point. We demand jobs and housing for the lower hill." So take a moment to look at these pictures and focus in and just see what they say. All right, so we have done something to change my audio. If you can hear me, let me know. Okay. All right. So I'm getting all thumbs up. Thank you all. Thank you all so much. Okay. So just a quick recap with the better audio. I was saying that if you look in the upper right corner of the picture, you see the Civic Arena, you see our ancestors and our elders protesting. Their signs say, "We want jobs, we pay taxes too. We're here," all of these different things, and they're in their Sunday best. So when Frankie Pace organized with these other organizations and created this billboard, which is now at Freedom Corner, it read, "Attention City Hall and URA. Attention City Hall and the Urban Redevelopment Authority. No redevelopment beyond this point. We demand low-income housing for the lower hill." And I know that you can't see it in this slide, but one of the campaigns that was created was the Poor People's Campaign. And if you'll recall, that was the last campaign that Martin Luther King Jr. Issued. And so, as I was saying, this is what we do not want. All right. The city did build low income housing, but not much more. So after this point, the city didn't move above Crawford Street and engage in a sort of benign neglect of the area. So let's take a look around this area now and see what the 28 acres looks like. So for those of you who are anywhere near my age or a little bit older, you know that we were not around when the displacement occurred. We were not around for the building of the Civic Arena. And yet this is what the site has looked like for the entirety of our lives. Just think about that, the entirety of our lives. We have never had another major development on this site outside of the Mellon Arena, which is, now along Fifth Avenue, but nothing this big. All right. So this is a first for us. Literally this image of the arena and the parking lot and that one building of Washington Plaza is what we have had for 60 plus years. So it was definitely a compromise, and in many ways it could be categorized as a failure, not just for the city, but also for our neighborhood, but for everybody. So now what we have is a developer that's interested in developing the entire site, everything that you see in this area, and with an anchor tenant and an investor. We have never seen this before because it was never done before in Pittsburgh. And as I said, in the first iteration, it was largely a failure outside of the activities in the Civic Arena. So we are setting the model. And why? Why not us? We are the ones who created a community-based master plan. It's not perfect and it needs to be updated, but we did do it. We created the first community benefits agreement. Some of us didn't even sign it because it wasn't robust. But today, do we have to rely on verbal promises made? No. We've learned our lesson, and now we have the LERTA and the CSIP, the community collaborative plan, implementation plan, a real community benefits agreement, a contractual legal agreement, and with a partner who knows that you can make money by benefiting the community, even as you build your own development. That's the magic. So it's our time, and let's make it happen. So on this next slide, I want to show you that there are so many Hill District residents, current Hill District residents that are working on this project. It's not intended for you to read everything. This is very small, but I just want you all to be very, very clear. Everybody that is in yellow is working on this project and right now. So from the City Council, we have Councilman Daniel Lavelle. We have State Representative Jake Wheatley. From the URA, we have Diamante Walker. From the CSIP EMC, we have Lance Harrell, whose family, at least is from the Hill District, but he's not a present resident. We have from the Hill CDC, Marimba Malayans. We have from Buccini Polling Group, Bomani House. We have from the Open Space Advisory, myself, Dr. Kimberly Ellis, and Lakeisha Bird. We have from E Holdings doing workforce development, Janae Smith and Irv Williams. We have Graves Design Group, Howard Graves, and we have Rick Suthers from On the Run Images. So the point is that you can see that there are many Hill District residents that are presently working on this development, the first in the city, the first in our history, and it's very important to see that neighborhood involvement is more than assured. It's already here. So I want to thank you all for listening. The Hill District community is all over this project. And so when we talk about community, let's be clear about what that word means. So here to give us a breakdown of how this happens, I would like to introduce the Buccini Polling Group's Vice President of Development for Pittsburgh, Bomani House.
Good evening. Thank you everyone for helping us to get through those technical difficulties. I'm glad we are gathered here in number. Good evening, everyone. Bomani House. I'm a long-time resident of the Hill, and recently I joined the Buccini Polling Group, the development firm that is engaging to build the First National Bank Commercial Center. Thank you for that overview. I want to talk a bit about the purpose of the Roundtable and move into some of our ideas, some of our thinking around how to build the economic vitality of our neighborhood. Just a bit about the Hill. This 1.7 square miles has been a settlement and safe haven place for African Americans for a very long time, in the early 1800s or mid 1800s. It later became a safe haven, the place of warmer suns for our ancestors who were looking for opportunity in the North. We brought with us tremendous and rich blues, jazz, culture. And so many of us inherited this and are very passionate because of what it meant to our ancestors. It sits as the second and third large revenue producing areas in the entire state of Pennsylvania. Downtown Philadelphia is number 1, downtown Pittsburgh is number 2, Oakland is number 3, and right in the middle is our beloved Hill District. I want us to understand that when we talk about the economic impact, the roundtable discussion, we are starting understanding that the redlining that happened, if you look at the map, you'll see highways that run through this neighborhood, taking folks from the downtown center into the north and southern suburbs. This was not by accident, this was by design, a national design to bring about redlining, a color-coded segregation plan that would, for many decades send Black wealth builders, homeowners into a downward economic spiral. And one of the very first cities, one of the very first neighborhoods that was redlined was right here at this Lower Hill site. And so a lot of us are incredibly impassioned about this. And it is with this understanding that we come to the table to build the economic vitality with these projects. Right now, our economic buckets in terms of income brackets in the Hill District, we have 35,000 in terms of household income. We have a second bucket, 25,000 in household income. That's our Sugar Top area. The first, the 35K, is our Crawford Square area. And then an average median household income drops down sharply to 18K on average, and even below that. Some of us are earning only $7,900 a year. And so we're very in tune with that. What that means when you're earning $1,500 a month, $375 a week, $68 a day, $7.82 an hour, and that's before taxes. There is much concern about gentrification and being priced out. And we are very in tune with all of those concerns. And we intend to build about an economic plan that is an anti-gentrification force field around our beloved neighborhood. So here you have an aerial view of some massings that shows what a proposed build out might look like. The first thing you'll notice is that Wiley Avenue is reconnected. This is important because this is something that we fought very hard for, to make sure that the economic artery that led to and from downtown, again, this second largest revenue producer in the state of Pennsylvania, we wanted to make sure that we were connected economically, but also culturally, and making sure that our history is rooted in the design. Next slide, please. And so to bring about this kind of vision, this roundtable discussion, we want to talk about the structuring of this panel. And so we have from Clay Cove Capital, we have Amici Aka, Kevin Ackland from the Pittsburgh Penguins, Chris Buccini, CEO of Buccini Polling Group. We have Brent Samajko from First National Bank, Jeff Ciccone from PJ Dick, Diamante Walker, Deputy Director of the Urban Redevelopment Authority, Janae Williams, and our moderator, Dr. Kimberly C. Ellis, and I am Bomani Howes, Vice President for Development of Buccini Polling Group. In the past, we've had many efforts, many planning sessions. We've been organizing, collaborating. I've been involved personally with the Lower Hill site since 2005. So I've seen developers come and go. I've seen financial partners come and go. And I want to stress the importance of what it means to be able to, at one time, to have equity investors in Clay Cove Capital, a developer in Buccini Polling Group, and an anchor that understands this neighborhood, its history, the economics of the Middle and Upper Hill, so that we bring about the right partners to make an institutional commitment over the long term and not just come into town to take advantage of the opportunities of this great site. And so I want to open up with a conversation with Amici Aka from Clay Cove Capital, who is one of the equity investors and financiers of the project. He's seated with CEO Chris Buccini. Welcome to the panel.
Thank you, Bomani.
I just want to talk about, I'm sorry, and I wanted to, and Brent Samajko, they want to leave out our anchor institution partner from F&B. So I wanted to create a conversation with the three of you about your commitments to the project and some of the vision and the thinking about how we can go about this project in ways that will stimulate economic activity, not only in the lower, but the middle and upper hill.
Thank you, Bomani. I appreciate the
Stay
overview.
there. Go back, please. Go one more. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I appreciate the overview. I think this is an interesting partnership, and you'll hear the word partnership a lot because it's important. This is not only a development and a business opportunity, but it's a partnership where bringing people together is important to make these important developments and opportunities for the Hill District as a whole happen. This is a people business. And so when you talk about these three capital partners, it's great to see that we have a working relationship that's gone back for many years, and we bring different things to the table. As you mentioned, Buccini Pulling Group has the master planning expertise, the development expertise, training expertise to bring a tremendous amount of resources to the Hill District. FNB Bank is one of the largest banks in the country, providing debt financing and also able to help with many projects in the lower hill, but also in the upper and middle hill. And Clayco Capital, as you know, is an equity partner. And we're looking to be business partners with people in the Hill District, throughout the Hill District, and making sure that we meet these entrepreneurs and build their businesses through the ability to access capital on an institutional level and to be partners for decades. So I think that we're excited about this coming together. In the F&B Tower alone, not only is F&B the financier, but they're also the main tenant. So they're bringing their corporation and its ability to generate economic activity, to bring jobs to this site. They want to be a partner and a neighbor for decades to come. Also, indirectly, we look at some of the great things that come from the Lower Hill redevelopment that will be a benefit to the entire Hill District. The Hill District Housing Opportunity Fund can help people from anything from fixing their home to putting down a down payment on their first home. And as we'll talk about multiple times in this presentation, home ownership is one of the best investments and keys to wealth creation, which we want to share with all the residents of the Hill District. We also have Alerto, which can help entrepreneurs with a $7.5 million monetized day one payment to go into a fund so that we can help entrepreneurs build businesses and become more successful while they help this Hill District create economic activity. So I think there's a lot that we can do here together as partners over the next couple of decades to really bring economic vitality and opportunity to the Hill District.
Thank you, Amici. Brent, I want to go to you. Can you talk a bit about First National Bank's commitment and why you all are committed to building not only in the lower hill, but the middle and upper hill as well?
Yes, thank you, everyone. And my name is Brent Samajko, and I'm the head of community development at FNB. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak with you tonight to discuss the work that we're doing in the Hill. Most of you probably know FNB from our headquarters on the north side next to PNC Park and our branches across the Pittsburgh region, including our branch right here on Center Avenue in the Hill District. But we just don't offer personal banking. We provide a full range of commercial banking, consumer banking, and wealth management solutions with our over 1,000 employees that are here in the Pittsburgh region. We pride ourselves on strong relationships that we build in communities and the ones that we serve. Our significant investments in social and economic development and the many ways that FNB employees make a difference through financial literacy, volunteerism, and hands-on support to businesses and nonprofits. We're excited to continue building these relationships with the Hill and investing in this historic and vibrant neighborhood. We also look forward to working together to support organizations and initiatives that create opportunities for residents and businesses in the Hill to achieve its long-term success. I'd like to go over just a few examples of FNB's partnerships right now in the Hill, and I'll go through these quickly with some of the key organizations. The Hill Credit Union, we have provided a capital contribution to help upgrade their systems and technology so that their customers can continue to use the credit union and also continue to grow with its mission. We're working with Neighborhood Allies on a real estate co-empowerment series that provides technical assistance to minority developers in the Hill District to help get their projects across the finish line on some of the gap issues. The Riverside Center for Innovation, we're also supporting them with a mobile back office support system that actually assists qualified minority contractors on their back end accounting support. The Hill CDC on all the great work that they're doing around affordable housing and entrepreneurship through the Center Avenue corridor and their great policy work. And two of the ones that we're working on the development side, the YMCA of Center Avenue, we put a lot of equity and lending into the preservation and the remodel of that historic site. And Big Tom's Barbershop, another anchor business institution here in the Hill that has a long history with the community. We're still working on significant investments to help minority developers grow their capacity and increase their entrepreneurship for minority and women-owned businesses, providing access to capital and technical assistance. And we also currently are evaluating 18 projects in the Hill District that are going to bring affordable housing, retail, and office space to the Hill District. In closing, our commitment does not end when we break ground. FMB is dedicated to not only being partners, but trusted neighbors with the Hill community for generations to come. Thank you for the time today, guys.
Thank you, Brent. And now I want to direct our attention to Chris Puccini. Thank you, Brent. Now I want to direct our attention to Chris Puccini, who is the CEO of Puccini Colon Group. I want to talk and get a little bit into detail, or I want to have Chris to get into a little bit more detail as to the community reinvestment dollars that are planned to go into the Middle and Upper Hill. So Chris, can you talk about those community impacts? A moment, thank you.
Thank you, Bomani. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. And thank you, Dr. Ellis, for leading this evening's roundtable. I truly wish we were all together in person tonight. So again, thank you for working through technology. At BPG and me personally, we are incredibly proud to be part of what I believe is one of the strongest community reinvestment projects in the United States, period. This is a community reinvestment plan that is years in the making, and it goes back to the incredible hard work of those that worked on the CSIP, which was signed back in 2014. And there were many people from the community, from city government, and from the Penguins organization that came together to create this visionary plan. We're here tonight. We are the master developer of the full 28-acre site. But tonight we are excited because we're ready to kick off phase one, which is parcel G1. So everything we talk about this evening, I want to be clear, is just the first of many more things to come. Parcel G1, or phase one, or otherwise known as the FMB Tower, is estimated to deliver $34 million of direct investment just to start, plus another 45% of the construction jobs we've targeted to go to minority and women-owned business. A very ambitious goal that we are excited to hit. And as has been discussed earlier tonight, this is truly a partnership. It takes many, many organizations and people and talents to come together to bring this together. One thing that I'm very proud of this, and you can all see it on the screen in summary, but only $3 million of these funds will actually go into the Lower Hill. These funds, they're going to go into open space, which is over 3 acres, and will truly connect the the Upper and Middle Hill back to the Central Business District right through this project, and also to kiosks. So only $3 million actually of the community benefit go into this site, and the rest actually go into the Middle and Upper Hill and into job training programs. I truly believe that we could not have a better partner in FNB Bank, the second largest bank in the state of Pennsylvania and headquartered here in Pittsburgh, who already has $17 million of loans of grants committed or proposed to go into the Upper and Middle Hill communities. Many of these projects I've toured myself. And in the months and weeks to come, I'm confident we'll see even more projects, and certainly over the term of them being here. Brent from F&B will go into more detail on F&B's financial commitment to the neighborhood in the slides that follow. We have a very detailed term sheet that I would urge all of you to go to. It can be found at www.lowerhilldevelopment.com, the website. And I think you can see it right there on your screen. And this is a term sheet that we have said for weeks we're ready to sign and look forward to sign to be part of this community. Thank you so much, Bomani. I appreciate it.
So what does it look like when you have several organizations that are being engaged, partnerships that are being formed around how we deploy capital into the neighborhood? So in the center, you see logos of First National Bank, BPG, Clay Cove Capital, who you've heard from, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and to the outer rings, you see the Urban Redevelopment Authority, the Catapult Program, Riverside Center for Innovation that deals with our capacity building, business support firms, neighborhood allies. To the left, you have the Hill CDC, who has been spearheading this work for a very long time. And so salute to Marimba Lyons and Felicity and all those at the Hill CDC who have been involved in this work for a very long time. Can't stress that enough. And then up in the upper left corner, we have one of the only African-American foundations in Pittsburgh, the Poise Foundation, and one of the only financial institutions, CDFIs, the Hill District Federal Credit Union, one of two in the state. So let's kind of unpack some of these partnerships and programs. I want to go to Diamante Walker, who is the Deputy Director of the Urban Redevelopment Authority, to talk about how some of these government-public partnerships in the public-private partnership are also helping to make a full and deep investment into the Hill District. Okay, from what I understand, Diamante is experiencing technical difficulties. So what we're going to do is push forward so that we can come back to her later, because there are a lot of activities that are happening at the URA. So we'll come back to that just to talk about that.
So let me give a reminder.
Yeah. So I would like to give everyone a reminder that in order to participate and ask questions, you want to get to our link tree. You want to use the camera on your smartphone, and you want to hold the camera over the QR code that's on the right side of every slide that we have. That will take you to a link tree where you see many different links that you need to have. And also it'll take you to where there's questions. So you can submit your questions there. I can't stress this enough. Please do send in your questions. We know that we're answering many of your questions throughout this presentation, but we want to make sure that we get any new questions as well. So thank you for being here. Thanks for your patience, and let's continue. I wanted to talk to, is it okay, Bomani, for us to talk to you and Amici about how this all comes together and what, small business opportunities and contracting opportunities are available? Okay.
Sure. One of the connections I want to make with the Urban Redevelopment Authority is how this institution, in partnership with Puccini Polling Group, with Clay Cove Capital, with First National Bank, can make direct investments into Middle and Upper Hill businesses, homeowners, and the like. So next slide, please. When you have a process by when these entities are working together and capital is flowing into the community, You have examples like the Communion Heron and Wiley project that Lakeisha Bird is spearheading. She's an architect in the making. She's a few stamps away, a few hours from getting her architectural stamps, and is building or renovating a structure at the corner of Heron and Wiley. You also have investment dollars that Brent spoke about earlier from First National Bank to renovate the original first YMCA. And I want to turn to you, Brent, and talk about Big Tom's Barbershop. And if you can get into some of the specifics of how that project came about and your partnership with the URA to be able to get dollars flowing into that project.
Yeah, so obviously working with the URA, they were looking for a site to expand his barbershop operations as throughout the Hill District and other locations, and having to be able to partner with the URA to find ways in which we could work closely with them to help really, I call it an anchor institution within the Hill. I know most of the folks that are from the Hill District here are still going there to get their hair cut to this day. But to be able to see an entrepreneur like Big Tom and the ability for him to expand his operations in the community, I think really speaks volumes. And we're really looking forward to the next steps with this project. And I think it's really going to be a good thing for the Hill to keep some of the historical, a historical institution like Big Tom's in the neighborhood.
I was really excited about Big Tom's project. Is an example of some of the catalytic activity that happens once investors are able to see that money can go in, spin around several times, exchange hands within that community, and then grow. So I want to turn now to Amici Akar from Clay Cove Capital, just to talk a bit about when you come into a neighborhood, a city like this, Pittsburgh, the Hill District, what are you looking for, and what are some of the relationships that you're trying to build above Crawford in the middle and upper Hill based on the activity that we're seeing in the lower Hill?
Well, thank you, Bomani. I look at the Hill District as a unique opportunity and one of the probably greatest urban redevelopment and economic development opportunities in the country. The Hill District has a proud and terrific history that also currently has great entrepreneurial spirit and wonderful business owners. And we look for those business owners to be partners for a long time together to build businesses. And so I've had the opportunity with the introductions from the URA, F&B Bank, and others to have meetings with these business owners and entrepreneurs and look at their projects. Together, we've actually been able to improve some of their plans and look at ways that we can expand their business. So, this is something where it's great because we're looking for more than just capital. This is a symbiotic relationship where we're learning from each other. Clay Cove Capital coming to the table is learning more about the Hill District, the opportunities, the pent-up demand, the ability to expand and build a real platform for our investment firm to build this neighborhood and work with its people to make economic activity. On the other side, we also bring to the table a lot of our relationships so that we can help these people, these business people build businesses by providing mentorship, giving them examples, looking at research, what's worked in other areas, and learning more and more about how to make their business as successful and sustainable as possible. So those dynamics are rich in the Hill District. We think they're only going to get better. And with our ability to be long-term patient capital, and now when I say patient, we're investing for not 2 years or 5 years. Most investments we expect to be in for 12 years or plus. And to grow the business together, I think is really something that we look for partners and entrepreneurs who are accepted of that, who expect that, and really we want to be business with for a long term. So we see a lot of opportunity in the Hill District. We're excited about all these opportunities. And as I said, it expands way beyond the lower hill. In the middle and upper hill, we have met such extraordinary business people And we look also at the residents of the Hill, and we see ability for having a market that's underserved, that really can build up pent-up demand, and that demand be met by great businesses going on all the way up Center Avenue and other corridors to be a vibrant economic area.
Thank you. And so I want to transition to talk with three contractors that we've been engaging in the project: Roy Butler, Curtis Morehead, and Rob Chambers. Let's start with Roy Butler. If you can just introduce yourself, talk a bit about your company and your thoughts about participating in the project.
My name is Roy Butler, as mentioned. I've been landscaping commercially since 1984 in the Pittsburgh area. We've worked on several major projects throughout the city of Pittsburgh, from Heinz Field to Bakery Square, Penn's Arena. Worked with PJ Dick on UPMC Hospital. But our forte is landscape construction. And we enjoy the opportunity working here in Pittsburgh. We take pride in the work that we do. That's why we get the opportunities that's afforded to us. We worked on several of the housing, well, just about all of the housing developments in Pittsburgh as of late, like Crawford Square, some of the key projects and what have you. But we really enjoy working here in the city and working with the different contractors in development. This is important because I've seen some of the things taking place that have taken place in the past and want to be a major part in the new Hill and Lower Hill project. So just glad to have an opportunity. It looks like there's a lot of commitment. Hopefully this will continue through the whole process, and hopefully we can develop, minority contractors in the doing of this whole project here. And I just look forward to getting on board and making this thing happen. So whatever I can do, we've already worked on the infrastructure. The trees that's planted on the site is from Butler Landscaping. So we've had a small share in it already and look forward to taking it all the way to the end. But thank you all for having me, and Bomani, looking forward to working with you in the group. And once again, look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Roy. I remember years and years ago, I had a small landscaping company called Down to Earth Landscaping. And I had to find this Roy Butler that everybody kept talking about. And I went and met with him at his office. I think at the time it was on 51 or something like that. And he loaned me a book of his. And I think I need to get that book back to you. I still have it. Thank you for jumping on. I want to turn to Curtis Morehead of Emerald Electric. One of the Hill District natives who has been in and around the city on major projects and helping to cultivate other small businesses within his company. And so I want to turn the table over to Curtis Morehead just to talk about Emerald Electric and your thoughts about participating on the project.
Thank you, Bomani. Appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you all. I am a child of the Hill District, born and raised up in Robinson Court, no longer. Just was always, went to Schilling High School, went to University of Pittsburgh, got into the local union as an electrician right after college, and I really haven't looked back. Became a instructor over at our local union, been there for 23 years teaching. During that period, we have property up in the Hill District, the old West Funeral Home. If anybody that's from the Hill remembers that, we own that. We had Willie Todd's place and another lot right beside it. So we've got 75 feet across Center Avenue back to LaPlace Street. So we are fully vested. Emerald Electrical got started back in '09 during the beginning of the recession. And we're a union electrical shop that believes in, giving help to our people in our community. We at that time we were very fortunate. The Penguins have always been interested in helping us as strategic partners. We've done nothing but good projects, working with them over the last 12 years that we've been in business. My wife owns the company. She's African American and all woman. So we cover all bases that way. I on purpose wrote a letter to the City of Pittsburgh Planning Commission and a Christine Mondor, just to let them know that we fully appreciate the strategic partnership that the Penguins have extended to us over so many years. Mr. David Morehouse and Kevin Ackland have had us. Originally, we put a radio system. We put the radio system into the old console arena at its conception, and it hasn't stopped. We've had we do inspections, fire alarm inspections. We've done multiple electrical installations throughout the years with those guys. So they're serious about the commitment to continue to grow and develop with us, and we appreciate that. Especially like I said, myself, I'm a child of the Hill District. Nobody could be any more invested in this development than I am. And we look forward to not only being a part of the development and growth of the 28-acre site, but when the site gets developed, we like very much to be that go-to electrical contractor that does the maintenance and the service, throughout. And with us also having the property up on the hill, we look forward to utilizing some of those, some of the development money to be able to put something nice back up in the upper hill where our property sits. So again, thank you all. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you, Curtis. I've known Curtis for a long time, and I was glad to see early on years ago the mentorship that he was able to give to Steve Rucker of Rucker's Electric. I see him in the queue, and so I want to give a shout out to him as well. He's building his firm, and he's looking to be on a project. I want to turn now to Rob Chambers, longtime small business developer who's been growing his firm. Rob Chambers from RW4. Can you talk a bit about your company and your thoughts about participating in the project?
First of all, I want to thank you guys for having me on the call. Really appreciate the opportunity. RW4, we've been around since 2011. Been in the construction industry for 15 years, but on my own for 10 now. We've worked on projects downtown Pittsburgh all the way up to Ben and Jerry's. We also had a hand in putting together negotiating deals with the Kaufman Auditorium and the Hill District and the Shopping Save when I worked at Macero, which is where I got my training. We received awards and proclamations for receiving over 90% participation on projects downtown Pittsburgh, working with guys such as Curtis Morehead on projects, received that proclamation from Councilman Lavelle. So we've been around. We understand the importance of this project. We also do a lot of work up Penn State, do some work with McDonald's as well now. So we think we understand the retail space well. We also done some work in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta for 4 years, it's expanding our business there. We worked with Gladys Knight and Chicken and Waffles down there. So again, we understand the importance of this project. I really commend the leadership, what you guys have been doing. You guys have been at it for a long time. Very familiar with mostly everyone on this call. And we love to be part of it. We get things done. We've been able to meet goals up at Penn State. I think that's probably one of our biggest accomplishments, along with working with McDonald's, people like that, having to meet deadlines, doing things on time, on budget, on schedule, in particular with painting. We've had a lot of success with that. And student housing and retail, probably some of our strengths there. So again, I'll turn it back over to you guys, but just want to commend the leadership again. I know in Atlanta, this is how things got done. This is how the H.J. Russells and some of the bigger firms, and quite frankly, in the country, which is partly why I went down there, to really study the best of the best. And that's how they did it, is with the leadership of the people from the community and putting working together and really making sure that you had minorities on the job. Qualified minorities, no matter what, we're going to meet these goals. And it's not just lip service, because I'll be honest, there have been times that I've been asked to be on these type of calls, and then you don't get opportunities. I've seen this happen quite a few times at Penn State and quite other places. So, I know you guys are serious and you've been at it for a long time, and you'll make real goals happen. So with that, I'll be quiet and pass the mic back to you guys. Thank you for having me.
You're exactly right. Thank you so much, Rob. In this time of this pandemic, we have lost more than 40% of Black businesses prior to the pandemic. And so I just wanted to kind of recap and talking about how difficult of a time it is right now for a lot of businesses to just stay afloat, to get to the next contract. And I just want to acknowledge all of those who have been able to survive through this pandemic and are looking toward more opportunities in this Lower Hill project to not only survive, but to thrive and grow their business. I want to segment back to the Urban Redevelopment Authority with our esteemed guest, Deputy Director Diamante Walker, who is also from the Hill, so that she can talk with us a bit about the partnerships that she has at the Urban Redevelopment Authority with F&B and how that helps to push projects like some of those that we spoke of earlier.
Great. Well, thank you, Bomani. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation. So I am also a child of the Hill District, very, very proud, lifelong Hill District resident. Family's been here for over 100 years and we're not going anywhere. So I find that it's an esteemed privilege to be able to work on this project in partnership with you, Bomani, you, Dr. Kim Ellis, and the rest of the development team. And so what we've been trying to do at the URA is to really focus on ensuring that we don't end up with a tale of two neighborhoods, where we have the Lower Hill that's been redeveloped and everything above Crawford Street has fundamentally been forgotten about. And so what that means is that we've got to really be focused on how do we prepare and how do we activate development at the neighborhood scale with the neighborhood as the development partner in order to prepare for what's going to happen in the Lower Hill. We absolutely need and will enforce opportunity in the Lower Hill, but we need not do that at the expense of forgetting about the part of the Hill District that's been waiting for investment just as long as the Lower Hill has been. And so what we've been focused on is building partnerships with F&B, particularly around the redevelopment of Center Avenue. As many are familiar, we did an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications, back in 2019 to move the master plan sort of from the visioning phase into the implementation and activation phase. And what that requires when you are working with smaller developers and you are literally working to transition Big Tom from being a barber to being a developer, it means that you need access to capital, you need resources, and you need a lot of creative thought leadership around how to do that. And so F&B has been a really strong partner with us to think about how to provide that capital and to get these projects moving. And so the URA is continuing to fundraise and to look for ways, again, to resource these smaller developers to be put in an ownership position, which is what the master plan calls for. We knew that some of the opportunities in the Lower Hill might not be right sized and right scaled for the kind of opportunities that we want to see happen. But Center Avenue was absolutely right scaled for smaller developers. And so the URA has deployed a couple of strategic investments to get those projects moving. In addition to Tom's Barbershop, we've also been working with Lakeisha Bird, who is also a part of the development team as a local architectural designer who's been working in the community for quite a few years. She is trying to develop live workspace on Heron and Wiley. One, because she wants to continue to grow and cultivate her business in the neighborhood, and we want to fully position her to do that. We've also made some critical investments in the Center Avenue Y. The F&B has been our partner there to provide transitional housing services to men in our community, which has been very, very important. For me, I know that we have a lot of conversations about, the strengths and the benefits of the Lower Hill. And then we've had to have some conversations about the weaknesses and the threats that it presents. But I think the gentleman said it best earlier that we've got to work together. We've got to have a strong, formidable strategy because we have to ensure that folks are prepared and that they have a pipeline to opportunity. We can't talk about it. We have to really demonstrate it. And so the URA is fully committed to doing that. And we have put our own resources, into play to ensure that the neighborhood is stabilized and is strong. So when this development happens and things start to improve in the region, the development's happening with the neighborhood and not to the neighborhood. And, the one thing that I would like to call out that we've been working on that I think is really going to be transformational for the Middle Hill is the stabilization of the Center Heldman Plaza. And so reimagining that plaza as a place where Black businesses can grow, develop, and eventually, I hope, own. And so we talk a lot about community ownership. And so we've got to position folks and invest in folks and use the assets that are at our disposal right now in order to do that. So Bomani, you and I have been having conversations about how to make sure that we can use that site as an anchor to ensure that everything that's coming above Crawford Square, that folks are in position, because, I'm raising my daughters here, right? And so I don't want a neighborhood 10 years from now where, they can't, buy a home or live, work, play, and pray. And I don't want to walk around my neighborhood and folks are looking at me like, why am I here? So we've got to get this right. And, there's a lot at stake here. This is a very emotional and, it's a project that folks have spent 10 and 15 years of their lives trying to get right. So this is a critical moment for us, and we're going to need strategic partners. I'm very excited to see Amici Akka, come to the table and talk about ways and strategies to do development that ensures long-term sustainable investment and investing in the people that look like us and have been here for a very, very long time. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to you, Bomani, but I'll stick around in case there are any other questions.
Thank you so much, Diamante. In this dialogue about wealth building, we don't want it to be lost that this is simply about a bunch of money flowing to and from the project and into the neighborhood. We're thinking very comprehensively about holistic investments. So if you go to the next slide, please. And so this is a wheel that kind of helps us to think more deeply about what we think about wealth, the richness of our neighborhood, having safe public park spaces. You'll see that those designs in the Lower Hill Plan, transportation access, technology and information access, healthcare and services access, ethnic group economics, how many times dollars turn around in our neighborhood. We've heard about Little Italy. We know about Squirrel Hill and other ethnic group economies. What happened to Little Haiti or Little Africa in the Lower Hill? Our educational opportunities, access to financial services, housing stability, generational wealth, economic and workforce development. We're thinking about all of these things. And so I want to turn back to Amici to just give a bit about some of the more comprehensive thinking behind some of the investments that we're making with regard to how you build wealth. Because if you're not a contractor, if you're not a builder on the project, you might be wondering, how does this impact me? I'm a resident I want to be here, I want to stay here, and I want generational wealth to be able to pass down to my family for many decades to come. Amici?
For our firm, at the center of what we do is help people build wealth. It's important because that is the economic activity that makes our project successful. We have to engage with residents to build wealth that is meaningful, sustainable, and able to be transferred within the community for years and generations to come. Our goal in making economic activity is provide all of the dynamics that you talked about in this chart. That helps us bring to residents the ability not only to get jobs, but the training and the access and the ability to grow those jobs into careers. We want to bring housing, but we want to make sure that housing turns into opportunities for home ownership, which is usually one of the biggest investments that any person can make. And we want to make sure that we take entrepreneurship and that spirit and those ideas and transfer them into growing businesses. These are meaningful wealth building blocks for every resident of the Hill District. And it's my commitment as an investor, a long-term investor and partner in the Hill District to make sure that that is accessible to every single person in the Hill District. So wealth building starts small, but it has a massive ripple effect. It's important for all of us. We're in this together. We have to work with each other to make sure communities of people who look like us have this ability to get into the economic path of growth. And so we want to make sure that, again, with our investments, we look for areas and we look for master plans and we look for opportunities to provide this kind of wealth building to make sure that it is a virtuous cycle up for all the stakeholders involved.
Thank you. I want to stress too, just to drive a little bit deeper with regard to this comprehensive wealth, to make sure that there are opportunities for our young people. We have been having conversations, meetings with Pittsburgh Public Schools, particularly with UPrep Alliance, the high school in the Middle Hill District, the Career Technology and Education program under PPS. They have a program that focuses on financial administration, business administration, finance, IT, what else? Engineering, HVAC, carpentry. They have a very comprehensive plan. And so what we've been talking about also is how can we make a connection into our schools to somewhat create a pilot on this project so that our kids can have a real world curriculum on community revitalization right in their neighborhood. And so this is a piece of this so that as we build out the Hill, our kids not only can get a job as a contractor or a career as a tradesman or woman, but they can also run projects. And so this is an important piece of this as well. Let's drill down a little bit deeper. Let's get into small business opportunities. So here again, you have a kind of like an aerial. This is a massing that talks about, helps us to illustrate what we're imagining when we're talking about redirecting economic activity toward what we call the open space, or what I would call the front lawn of the First National Bank Commercial Center, the open space that invites people to gather for small movies in the park or outdoor concerts, eateries, places where you can have family activities, you can go down and play some chess. We're creating a space for entrepreneurs and artists to have a welcomed place, food hall opportunities where we can build on the food economy entertainment economy with a Live Nation venue where small concerts can be held, kiosks so that small businesses can, let's just say if you have a small business in the Middle Hill and you want to expand, but you don't want to build out this big open, larger square foot facility, maybe perhaps an extension for you is a kiosk. And so we're trying to be really creative with ideas that to build economic activity. Some are asking, next slide, please. Next slide, please. So one of our panelists is Jeff Taccone. An important part of this partnership is to make sure that you have not only a Clay Cove Capital, the equity investors for the project, not only a BPG, the builders, the developers, not only do you need a First National Bank as an anchor institution, we also have to have a builder who understands the principles of the community collaborative implementation plan, which is central to how we build this out. So I want to talk about some of the contracting opportunities, because not only is wealth building a piece of the CSIP, the minority, women, business enterprise opportunities are also very important. So here we have a slide that illustrates the pre-development, which is 95% complete. We have then following the construction and then post-development. I want to mention that, and we'll have some stats to pop on the next slide, but I want to give you kind of like a visual of all the types of businesses and professional services that we're opening up to allow people to participate and grow their companies or get workforce opportunities. So just take a moment to look at those professional services, and this is all ongoing: legal, accounting, community outreach, graphics, artists, brokerage, right? Professional services, you can read down that list. As we push towards April and we get into actual construction, if this plan goes forward, we're still looking at and I want to tell you a little story about the design of the curtain wall and the implementation for a huge project like this 26-story building. So in June, we're looking at site prep, construction trailers, furnishings, trailer equipment, trailer cleaning, construction fencing, temporary sanitary facilities, dumpsters, surveying, and much more. I won't read through all of those, but I just want to give you a sense of what we have lined up so that we can create more economic activity off of the site. Okay, so I want to turn my attention to Jeff Taccone, who is the CEO of PJ Dick, the builder that we've come into partnership to build this First National Bank commercial tower. Jeff, can you talk a bit about your commitment to the project and how PJ Dick is ensuring that it is helping to meet the goals of the CSIP so that we can have heavy MBE participation?
Sure will, Bomani, happy to do it. Appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight. You know, I'll also compliment this team that's been put together and worked so hard over so many years. I do believe that we're really seeing a great effort and a great collaboration and satisfying, you know, the community needs for this project. And certainly our goal as the general contractor for G1 would be to try to maximize those opportunities for both workforce and subcontracting on the project. So, you know, we've worked in Pittsburgh since 1979. You know, we've grown with the economy here in Pittsburgh. We've worked on many projects, you know, high profile projects with very ambitious minority and small business participation plans. And generally we've been pretty successful. I think our history tells us that this is not easy. We recognize that this is not easy. We recognize that this takes a concerted, focused effort. and we're committed to doing that. BPG is committed to allowing us to commit the resources that we need to make sure that that happens. I think many of you probably on this call have probably already been part of an outreach or been vetted through our process of identifying not just contractors, but any business that has a potential opportunity to work on the project. And as Bhavani said, many of them are listed there. So our goal is to identify, my contractors, small businesses, both working in construction and other businesses that can support the project, get to know them, understand where they could fit, and then our job is to work with those contractors, those businesses, to create the opportunities on this project. Whether it would be to, one of the restaurants in the Hill District to provide lunches to our job meetings and things like that. So we're in the process of starting that. We have a team committed already. Justin Huff, who is our project exec, is leading our team along with Bill Hartle, our senior project manager, and Teresa Giacomino, who is leading the outreach right now to contact, vet through the businesses. And I guess in many ways, we expect a matchmaking of our team with any of you contractors or businesses out there to make sure we can provide really great opportunities for you. So we're committed. We know it's going to be a challenge. We know it's, this isn't going to be easy. We've got very significant goals, but we're confident that if we all work together, we can find a way to be successful. And we're looking forward to the opportunity. Thank you, Bhavani.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Just a housekeeping note, I want to remind you that if you take your phone and you look at this square, I'm getting used to this, new to this technology. This is like real hot. The QR code. Take your phone and put it up to the QR code. It will take you directly to these construction and bid opportunities. We want to remind you, go to www.lowerhillredevelopment.com/construction bidding. We don't just stop there with saying, okay, we want to get a bunch of contracts lined up. When we get you into our system, and I'm going to take you to a segment that gets into more detail, but once you get there, we're assessing and asking you if you need business support services, back of house assistance with accounting and legal and all of these things. We want to really make sure that contractors have all the support that they need to participate. Remind you to stay in tune with us, stay tapped in so that we can make sure we provide all the services to make you as successful as possible. I want to remind you of a couple of classes that are coming on. A big question that we received in our previous community conversations was around union and non-union participation. And so on Tuesday, April 6th, there is going to be a presentation on the benefits, risks, obligations, and workforce preparation and the process on becoming signatory. On April 8th, Thursday from 8 to 9, there will be a panel discussion featuring union signatory contractors. So we're not just leaving you out to dry. We want to make sure that we provide every resource possible, again, because the CSIP, the Community Collaborative Implementation Plan, requires that we hit above the city MBE goals of 17, 18, and 7. We want to hit 30 and 15. And so I want to take us to our construction schedule. Chris, if you can begin to walk us through that. And then after that, we're going to talk a bit about how we bring companies into our database if you're interested in participating. Chris?
Thanks, Bo. Listen, this is a project that we are very respectful of the long history of this project. And so I wanted just to take a moment to talk about where we're coming from and where we're going. BPG has been involved for almost 3 years. It goes back to about 3 years ago. We started the master planning, and every building needs a strong foundation, and every big mixed-use project needs a strong master plan. So that goes back. We started that over 2.5 years ago, And during this time, knowing that there would be a goal of 45% minority and women-owned businesses, we've been putting the foundations in place to make that happen. We learned a little bit about that just earlier from Jeff Turkani from PJ Dick. And the takedown of the land with the target is this June. We have a very tight window to start to make this project work for FMB Tower, for FMB Bank, our tenant. We also have construction costs rapidly increasing as well as interest rates. So the focus is a land takedown in June. Construction would begin shortly thereafter. And most importantly, perhaps the first crews would arrive on site this summer. So we would all in the neighborhood see a lot of activity starting this summer. And construction is estimated to be completed the end of 2023. So about 2.5 years. And the importance, there's, hopefully you can see the importance of making diversity a priority throughout this entire contracting process. Thank you, Bomani.
Okay, we want to take you to a short video. We have contracted with E Holdings. I'm sorry, wait a minute, I'm going on.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Bomani. So this contracting and community impact and the diversity inclusion contracts are extremely important. So next we're going to actually have a short video from Janae Williams. And here's the thing, this is what we want to know, right? Okay, if I'm a minority and women-owned business or women-owned business, how do I get involved in this project? Like beyond reaching out, for the link and beyond sending an email, how do I get involved in this project? What do I need to be prepared? And then what if I'm a small business, like a really, like a boutique firm, right? And what if I don't have the capacity to do more, with regard to this project? What do I do? How is this development team going to help somebody like me, right? Those are the questions that we've been hearing. Those are the questions that Janae Williams of E Holdings works on, and she's a part of our entire development team. So we're going to hear from her. It's a 4-minute video. So let's pay attention, and please do have your notebooks and be ready to take notes if you're a minority and women-owned business. Thank you. And while you're waiting, you can take down the email diversity@eholdingsinc.com. diversity@eholdingsinc.com.
Presidents, my father and myself and my husband, and we were very happy. I'm Janae Smith. I am the Executive Vice President of E Holdings. E Holdings is a Hill District-based business owned and operated by Hill District residents, my father and myself and my husband, and we are very happy to be a part of this conversation today, as we believe it's vitally important to provide local firms, local MBE firms, an opportunity to participate in projects in a very meaningful way, a way that'll make a significant impact, not only on them, but on their community. And so if I take a moment to kind of address all three of your questions at one time, because I think they're really interconnected, and I can kind of walk you through our efforts to date, where we see ourselves going, and then just chat a little bit about those resources you asked about. So as we shared throughout the discussion today, there are contracting opportunities both in the near term, there are also those in the long term, but combined, they're really going to make a meaningful community impact as a vehicle for diverse and minority and women and disadvantaged businesses to participate in the design, the construction, ultimately the long-term maintenance of not only this immediate project, but also future development projects. To date, BPG has total commitments for design and pre-construction related contracts in excess of 40% M and WBE. And our firm, eHoldings, is actively reaching out to MWBE businesses who've expressed an interest in participating in the construction phase of the office tower as part of this ongoing initiative to meet and or exceed the MBE goals for the Lower Hill development site, one project at a time. You know, because it's personal to us, because we're passionate, because we ourselves understand construction and understand the built environment, we really want to exceed previous percentages on this project to date by working with local firms, such as those in our community, to understand what your capacity is, what your interest in participating in the project, and what services you'd like to offer. Are you a vendor? What trade do you have the capacity to deliver on? And then ultimately working with you along with a construction manager to try to identify a path for work, a path to that contracting opportunity. And so because these opportunities are so significant, now is the time to let us know that you're here, that you're interested, and that you're available. And so if we haven't contacted you, contact us. Simply just send us an email to diversity@eholdings.com with your name, the name of your business, your phone number, and obviously your email address. So we can contact you. So we can start working with you immediately to determine what makes sense, either for this project or a future project. We want to make sure that your information is retained, not only for today, but for future tenant fit outs, other large scale construction projects, post-construction opportunities. But in order for us to make sure that you have an awareness about what's available, we need to have an awareness about you. And so we encourage you to make yourself available to us so that you can understand the opportunities. The most immediate opportunities, as I talked about in the construction schedule, are over the summer and the coming months. And so it's now very important for you to make sure that we know that you're there and that you're interested. And so part of being interested and part of understanding who does want to participate, I think speaks to the second part of your question about, do we have the local MWBE contracting community that's large enough to help us meet these goals on a project of this scale? And so I think I want to answer that in two parts. The first part is we are realistic.
Thank you so much, Janae. I hope that you all found that to be extremely informative. And just to reiterate parts of what she was saying, you want to send her an email at diversity@eholdingsinc.com. That's diversity@eholdingsinc.com. The other aspect of Janae's video deals with if you're a small business and you don't quite have the capacity to fulfill a contract, maybe right now, you need some development, you want some back house assistance. Well, that's what the Riverside Innovation Center is for. And so when you contact eHoldings and get on their mailing list, they're going to call you, they're going to interview you about your business and see what you have, what you don't have, what you need. And you will be connected to the right people to help you develop your business. So you don't have to already be there. You can just be getting started. And if you are already there, then you're likely going to get a contract. So be mindful of that. And also, it's really important to get on this list because their list will, they're going to be contacting you throughout the duration of this entire project. At the Lower Hill redevelopment site, just for the construction bidding part, there's only construction bidding for these two blocks of construction. All right. So it's really important for you to know the difference, and please do sign up last time at diversity@eholdingsinc.com. So I want to move back to Bomani so that he can talk about the Minority and Women's Business Enterprise. Our stats are very, very important. Bomani?
So one of the elements of this process is that we have to go we had to go before the Equal Opportunity Review Commission, which is an independent board that listened to our ideas and our thinking about how we plan to reach our MBE goals. And we got a unanimous approval by all of the board members after they saw our MBE plan. And so we're very proud of that. Right now, we're at 41.6. Of that, 28.2 is MBE, 13.4 is WBE. We have over 339 MBEs in our, 495 MWBEs in our database, 339 business contacts, and then 50 are signatory to the union, and then 88 interested in training. Those are just some of the stats that we keep on an ongoing basis to make sure that we're staying committed to high MBE participation. If we can't find them in the Hill, we look regionally. If we can't find them regionally, we'll go as far as outside of the city and into the state. If we can't do that, we'll go even further to make sure that we have participation on the site at the highest levels. Here's an example, Dr. Mafarqua. This is a steel, concrete, and glass project, 26 stories. And so a lot of expertise is not in this space, that we can't find it, but we don't like to say, oh, we just couldn't find it. And so here's an example of a participant, a consultant from out of Louisiana, who will be helping us with regard to how the glass installation for the envelope will commence. Next slide, please. Next slide. Again, a reminder, next slide. If you want to stay in tune with us, use your phone to head over to the Q Square and get more information. I want to turn it back over to Dr. Kimberly Ellis to talk about our open space, and then we're going to soon jump to Q&A.
Thank you so much, Bomani. Before I actually talk about the urban open space, I want to hand it over to Kevin Ackland from the Pittsburgh Penguins so he can talk about community impact and specifically decision-making around the Opportunity Zone, Ammon Recreation Center, and the curtain call, which is a significant part of the urban open space as well. Kevin?
Thank you, Dr. Ellis, and good evening, everybody. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for spending so much time with us tonight. I know a number of you have been to a number of public meetings relating to the Lower Hill over the last 7 years, and it's because of all of your hard work that we're even here tonight to talk about the first phase of a potential transformational development. And I want to thank our team. Clearly, hopefully you see a team made up of Bomani and BPG, Amici and Clay Cove, FNB, PJ Dick, the Penguins. We're trying to do something here. We're trying to do something great. It's obviously been a very difficult economic circumstances and with the pandemic, with what's happening out there, and hope everybody is staying safe, and hopefully we're turning a corner. But we've assembled a team here to try to achieve the high goals and to really reconnect the Hill District, not only physically to downtown and the rest of the city, but culturally and economically. And so that's really what we're trying to do here. This is not just about building buildings, but hopefully you've seen here tonight, it's about investing in people. It's about creating opportunities to recover from some of the past mistakes that have been made on the Lower Hill. And that's very much what we've been doing at the Penguins. And so what we've done is we've assembled a team that's committed, that's made up of residents of the Hill District who are trying to do the right thing and deliver, again, not only to rebuild the Lower Hill, but to reconnect and reinvest in the Middle and Upper Hill District. And that's really the legacy and the test by which this project will be tested. How much do we actually deliver upon those commitments that we're making? And that's something that we're very actively working on here. In terms of there are a number of other projects that we're advancing alongside the FNB project. First and foremost, the curtain call project is something that the Penguins in particular are very committed to delivering as part of the development. We've hired Walter Hood, the original artist for the project, will be coming out to the community within the next month or so with a very robust public engagement. We did already meet with a development review panel back right before the pandemic. It's about a $3 million project. We're already well within the swing of fundraising to complete that project. That will be a very visible and project that really harkens back to the history of the Lower Hill on Wiley Avenue, the Crawford Grill, and a number of the different historical African-American locations. We think it'll be a centerpiece attraction to the site, and something that's long overdue for delivery, but something that we're committed to delivering, and we're in the process of doing so. We've also made initial investments in Ammon Recreation Center with the leadership of Councilman Dan LaBelle. FNB and the Penguins invested $100,000 recently. The city is underway in building a Rec-to-Tech center to bridge the digital divide, to create opportunities for kids and residents in the Hill District. That's just the start. We're also committed to working with the city and Macedonia once there's the consensus on what that area of Bedford will look like. The repurposing of the ball fields, the Penguins will be there alongside to help make that happen. You've heard a lot about the Opportunity Zone, and it's something that we've been working on, started back in 2019 with largely through the effort of Governor Wolf, the mayor, the county executive. We sent a letter down to Washington and said that we wanted to be part of the Opportunity Zone for the Middle and Upper Hill. For those who don't know, that's a federal tax program that attracts investments to sites like the Lower Hill District. We think that our site in this part of the neighborhood is exactly what Senator Cory Booker was thinking about when he drafted the Opportunity Zone language in bill several years ago. So that's something that we think will attract investment not only to the Lower Hill, but also to the Middle and Upper Hill. And we look forward to working with the community and other investors on bringing capital to this neighborhood. Now, that capital can be used to offset some of the potential negative implications of gentrification, to keep people in their homes, to invest in affordable housing, to convert vacant and abandoned properties. One of the benefits that we have in the Hill District is that the city and the URA still own a lot of the land in the neighborhood. And so we can work together with the community to help rebuild and reinvest in an equitable way in the community. We're also very close to announcing a First Source Center in the Hill House. So it's something our team was on site today to convert and bring back the First Source Center. That's a place where folks in the neighborhood can come centrally located to find a job, not only on the Lower Hill, but also working with other employers, find access to job opportunities, to training, to deal with expungement matters. So Tracy McCants Lewis, who's works with me for the Penguins, has long been working with Duquesne University on finding ways to get people back to work, to overcome some of the challenges of past convictions. And so that's something that all will happen right there back in the Hill House, and something that the Penguins are helping to deliver along with our development team. And we're also looking to bridge the historical gap between the African-American community and the building trades. And so too often, historically, union jobs have not been available to folks of color. Bomani and I on Friday hosted a meeting with the building trades along with Angela Mike of Pittsburgh Public Schools, a CTE program, to build a pipeline and a partnership to create opportunities for kids who may want to have an opportunity going forward into high school if they go through the program, there's an apprenticeship job waiting for them with a significant salary, that they can be the next Black contractors and the next Black developers here in Pittsburgh. So those are just a number of things that we're doing behind and aside our development team, who you've heard from tonight. And again, I just want to thank everybody from the community. You've put a lot of hard work and effort in this. It's easy for some to criticize the efforts that are happening here, but I hope you see tonight that we have a group of people who really are trying to do the right thing to really reconnect and invest in the community. None of this happens without the leadership of Councilman Lavelle, who has worked very hard to hold all of us accountable. Representative Jake Wheatley, who has been very much a partner in helping us realize a true transformational opportunity for Lower Hill. And we look forward to doing great things together with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. That was very informative, and we really appreciate your investment and your explanation on some of those tough questions, right? It's really important that we address all of these things. So let's talk for a moment about the urban open space. Bomani already showed you that Howard Graves is an architect who is working on the site. And I want to talk for a moment about Wiley Avenue, because it should be highlighted that Wiley Avenue and the reconnection to downtown was actually a demand from the community, and not a demand actually on this present developer. It was a demand that was made at least 10 years ago. So it was factored into the pre-development plans and our plans. The decision was made to not just make Wiley Avenue another street you can walk down, but something where you can honor the legacy and make it a festive, vibrant atmosphere that honors the past and welcomes the present. Also, we've had a discussion about some of the retail kiosks that will be on the site. And those are largely like in those sort of orangey squares. And this is a constantly moving development plan. But let me talk a little bit about why retail kiosks are very, very important. Because if you have set retail kiosks and you have pop-up kiosks for artists, that's extremely important because you have a captive audience of office building and eventually housing tenants and an entertainment venue that will be present. So you can have a business that's tucked away in a remote place, but you want foot traffic, and that's what drives the business and increases all artist sales or anything that is being sold at these retail kiosks. So we don't want to undermine the importance of these retail kiosks. They're very important. Just imagine being there and having so many people swirling around and buying your products. It matters. So this is what we're building here. And as I said, with our consultant, Howard K. Graves, with his architectural firm. And also, as Kevin Ackman explained, the curtain call will be right at the entrance of the Wiley Avenue and Logan Street place, but that's a different block, so we're not there yet. All right, and then I just want to show you some of my work from the CAP Park. The CAP Park is the public park, next slide, that is right across the street from Washington, right across Washington Plaza and right across the street from this development. So why am I showing you this? Well, first of all, because David Morehouse of the Pittsburgh Penguins loved the CAP project so much that he wanted to stretch some of the elements up into the urban open space. And he hired, or, we have hired Fred Bonchi from LaQuacha Bonchi Associates, and it's important to have us there. So basically the team is back together. Myself, Fred, Dan, Lakeisha, we're all working together again. And so what's important about this part of the project? There are design elements, and specifically with regard to the history, not necessarily that we're going to replicate these exact history walls, right? But the history will be told up in this site and in a variety of different ways. And also they wanted to stretch Keisha across the street, and I'm all for it, right? So let me outline what I did, because this is my specific work on the CAP Park. So what I wanted to do was to honor our history from the 1800s. That became focusing on Martin Delany, an international star, an international hero, if you will, because Martin Delany came into the free Black community that was here in Pittsburgh, that was here in the Lower Hill, also known as Little Haiti. They were here since 1827 to 29 and built this neighborhood. And they were the first ones here. And so he came in 1831 to this already developed community, and they were all abolitionists. They had set up the Underground Railroad here. They had businesses in Market Square. I mean, it's a really amazing history, and we don't talk about it that much because many of us don't even know it that much. So I thought that it was really important to tell the story of the Hill District from the 1800s and to highlight somebody like Martin Delany. Next, we get to the 1900s. I thought it was very important to highlight Frankie Mae Pace, who I talked about earlier in our presentation. And, she's done a whole host of different things, but she was so instrumental into really the development of the Hill District, around protesting as well, and the setup of Freedom Corner. I mean, many different things. So we want to thank Frankie Mae Pace. And quite frankly, we know that Black women are often not highlighted as much, and it's really important to highlight somebody of her significance. And then we get into the 2000s, and that's Keisha. She is this illustrated little girl. who likes to play and fly and listen to music and sing and have fun. But what's also important here is that she's grounded in her own history. So when you see her sitting on the grass, I know that this picture is really small, but since I created it, you know, with the illustrator, I just want you to know that she's reading a book, and on one side it says Harriet Tubman, and on the other side it says Martin Delaney, because she's reading about her history and she's learning, you know, her history as well as her future. And then when you see her gazing up at the stars, I know that you can't see it because this picture is really small, but in the upper right corner, she's looking up at the Little Dipper. She's looking up at the North Star. And why is that important? Because it connects her not only to Martin Delaney and the Underground Railroad, but also to the North Star constellation that is in Market Square. So I just thought it was very important to connect these dots and to tell a different story about Pittsburgh. It's really time, you all. Pittsburgh has a progressive history, and we need to pull that out and present it literally to ourselves and everybody else. It's really time for Pittsburgh to tell a different story. And now, for the first time in our lifetimes, we can actually do that with a new development. So the cultural legacy is extremely important, and it's also part of the CSIP. And so our next section is really just to tell you how to stay informed on this project. First of all, as you all know, you can look at the QR code. There are also links that are in the chat room. The main website is lowerhillsredevelopment.com. We do not want you to get lost in this process. You need to be completely and totally connected to the biggest and the best development that is going to happen literally since we've been alive, okay? There's a newsletter that always comes out. You'll get the newsletter when you sign up on our website. This particular presentation that you're watching tonight will be on the website in 48 hours. Give us 2 days, it'll be up. The questions submitted during the presentation, we're gonna get into that Q&A, but then we're also gonna follow up in the newsletter, and also I'll follow up on the website. So just remember, we're still actively building the marketing and communications consultant team. So this is a work in progress, but at least you all get to see where we are, how we are, and what we're doing. My particular work with the Buccini Polling Group is not only to present the historical narrative for this entire operation, but to also find the places and the spaces to share the cultural legacy of the historic Hill District, where we can infuse the storytelling, the art, the placemaking, the remembrance, and the forward thinking. So we don't have places like this in Pittsburgh, and our aim is to make this an international destination. As we know, the Hill District was once considered the crossroads of the world. And so I want to bring back the president, Chris Buccini, and the owner of this project. He's intimately involved in a way that I honestly, I've never seen a CEO involved in this way, but he's intimately involved in this project. And I want to bring back Bomani Howes, the Vice President of Development for Pittsburgh, just so that they can give you some of their final words before we move into the Q&A. Is that all right? All right, perfect. Chris and Bomani?
Thank you, Dr. Ellis. Can you hear me? All right. Thank you so much. And yes, I am very committed to this project, in large part because I'm very proud to be part of this project. I want to thank everyone from the community for taking so much time this evening to listen. We've done our best to listen to the community over the past 3 years, and we tried our best to respond. This is a big, complicated project with a lot of history, and so there was a lot to share this evening. Tonight is our effort to continue communicating with the community, the many aspects of just the first phase of the project. And as you can see, there's so much to share. And also, I want everyone to know that we will continue to communicate and we will continue to engage to be good neighbors in this community. I do appreciate that there are 75 years of history in this project, and that now is the time. We have a tenant lined up. We have all the capital lined up and ready to go. And we are ready to break ground just this summer. We're ready to create lots of jobs and really the human impact of what this all means to this community. And we're looking forward to being a very proud member of this community, as I think you've heard tonight. We have a very, very powerful community impact plan that can now be executed. And we also have the team that can make it happen. And I'm so grateful to have Bomani and Dr. Ellis leading the charge here. We have a tight window to make this happen, as I've said before. And we ask your support to honor, repair, and build back better in the Hill. Thank you so much for your time this evening. I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Again, I just want to echo those remarks, and I want to thank all of you. We've had, for the most part of this evening, over 100 participants. I want to remind you that this is a conversation. We've had several plans that have come before the community: the Center Avenue plan, the Green Print plan, the Hill District Master Plan, and all of those have been a part of what has led up to the implementation of the Community Collaborative Implementation Plan. This is an iterative process, and we are asking you all to show support and join us in this dialogue about how we can begin to make some of this happen. All of this plan that you saw tonight, these are ideas. This can go away like a lot of the other plans. This is simply a plan. We want to know that we have the support and we have the open dialogue. I wanted to also acknowledge all of the members of the Executive Management Committee who have been holding us accountable to make sure that the CSIP is actually realized. And we want to go into Q&A to answer some of your questions. And we also want to hear some of your comments. If you found any of this information to be to be informative, we'd like to hear from you. And so we want to open it up for Q&A and discussion. And this is just the beginning of many conversations that we need to have for the build out in the Lower Hill.
Thank you so much, Bomani and Chris. And as I have said before, and you probably have heard me say this, it's an absolute honor to work on this project. And it's an honor to work on this project with Chris and especially Bomani, another Hill District resident. So we have some questions here that I will send to the appropriate person. Kevin, I believe that this next question is appropriate for you. The question is, there was a mention of seeing developments come and go over the years on this site, as in the Lower Hill site. Can you point to a common thread that has led to the decisions to pull out of these previous deals? So they want to know a little bit about the history of the site and, these developments and people pulling out of the deals.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ellis. So, I've been with the Penguins now.
I can't hear any of the answers.
Can you guys hear me? I've been with the Penguins now for 3 years. This is the first time that we've really had a viable team who really are pursuing development to achieve all of the goals of the Lower Hill development, the CSIP goals, the high commitments to minority and women-owned businesses. And so I know there have been a number of tries in the past. Other developers have come and gone. What you have now is a seasoned team, I think, that gets it, that has hired, team members from the Hill District who have spent the time and effort to engage with the community. And so the failures that have happened in the past have been because for various reasons, but I'll tell you that some of the successes here with this current team is because they're really about engaging. They're about pursuing and achieving the goals of the CSIP. And again, this is just the first phase. This project that's going to be advancing is the very first phase. There's a number of additional development opportunities coming ahead of this that will build upon the precedent that's set here.
Okay, thank you so much, Kevin. And you actually answered the second question I had for you. So thank you very much for being comprehensive. Let's see, another question that I had This question is for Amici. And the question is, what type of people development will go on from this site? The Hill has a drought of redevelopment of existing houses. How will the need to revitalize these houses be addressed? And I think Diamante can address this as well, because like Kevin said, the Urban Redevelopment Authority does own much of the land in the Hill, and there are housing initiatives that are present. So I think Diamante, do you want to go first, and then Amici can go second?
We can have Amici go first, and then I'll go second.
Okay, so from, as I mentioned before, this project, the Lower Hill project will help fund the Hill District Housing Opportunity Fund, which will provide millions of dollars for people to do anything from fixing their roof to improving their property, rehabbing their house, or even putting a down payment on a new house. So the thought about human capital and housing is definitely tied into this project. When it comes to other projects, as mentioned before, with the URA and F&B Bank, we are looking at a number of new housing projects for the Middle and Upper Hill to make sure people have great housing from market housing to workforce affordable housing. So part of the general investment we're making in the Hill District is to make sure that homeowners have access to capital to maintain or improve their homes, and renters and others have the ability to get great new housing through projects that we're doing. So whether it's mixed use or for sale residential, we're going to be deep partners in the Upper and Middle Hill to make sure all these opportunities are available to the residents of the Hill. And we have a commitment that's going to be decades long to continue these programs. So this is not just a one-off, but this is going to be a long-term continuous commitment to helping people have the best housing we can bring to the Hill District.
Yes, so thank you for that, Amici. So two points of information that I think are necessary for this conversation for us to understand. So when we talk about anti-displacement, one of the best strategies to avoid anti-displacement is ownership. And so Councilman Lavelle and I worked very hard and I'm sure the development team recalls this, to negotiate that $3 million housing opportunity fund that is dedicated specifically to the Hill District. And so, but that is wholly contingent upon Block E being taken down. So the moment that Block E is taken down and the board votes to do that, the development team will borrow $3 million to give us upfront capital to start help stabilizing properties and homes in the Hill District and ensuring that residents right now who are not able to access the more competitive housing opportunity fund dollars that are spread throughout the city. We worked with the development team to broker a way to bring immediate capital and immediate dollars to start to do that work. I think I heard it mentioned that the URA is one of the largest landowners in the Hill District, and that's a good thing. And I think that it's a good thing because of the leadership that we have right now at the URA, but the goal is to put that property back onto the tax rolls and to have it be beneficial and owned by Hill District residents. And so we are starting that work. Center Avenue is sort of the first foray into that, transferring that land back to the ownership structure that exists within the community, ensuring that businesses and nonprofits have an opportunity to own. And so the commitment to affordable housing has to extend beyond rental. We've got to find affordable ways to help people own their property and to remain in their home. So again, the work that Councilman Lavelle has been able to do to broker a deal to have those LRTA funds that are contingent upon the takedown of Block G, which is about $8 million. That work, that's been critical because those upfront dollars will allow us to build a critical mass and move more expeditiously in stabilizing the vacant land in the Hill District.
Thank you very, very much, Diamante Walker and Amici. We are very, very grateful for you all. I want to thank the entire team that was here tonight. You all have done a fabulous job. I also want to give respect and honor to our state representative, Jake Wheatley, our city councilman, Daniel Lavelle, and to the rest of our panelists, our anchor tenant from F&B Bank, Brent Samajko, our primary capital investor, Amici Aka, the president, the co-president of Buccini Polling Group, Chris Buccini, the vice president of development here in Pittsburgh for Buccini Polling Group, Bomani House, Jeff Turconi from PJ Dick, Janae Williams from eHoldings, who sent in her video, and Kevin Ackland from the Pittsburgh Penguins. Thank you all very much for your participation. And I did say Diamante Walker from the URA, right? If I didn't, I just said it then. I'm Dr. Kimberly Ellis. I've been your host. Just a few reminders for you all. We have covered literally everything from the beginning of this development to the history, to the economic impact, to the commitments, to the investment. You have seen it all. And as you see, you all, it takes time to tell this story and to actually tell you what is being offered in a very real and concrete way. You need the information. You deserve to have accurate information. And so in our continuing developments, you can follow along on social media at Lower Hill Redev, That's on Facebook, on Twitter. And then on our website, you can go to lowerhillredevelopment.com, lowerhillredevelopment.com. I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you all for your attentiveness. You've been very patient and kind, and we greatly appreciate it. And so we want to say good night from the entire development team here in the Lower Hill District. And thank you so much for coming to our Lower Hill Economic Impact Forum. We'll see you next time.